Madam X. I finally got to Madam X. I'm done. I've actually watched all 11 Madonna concerts. Actually sat and watched every frame. Um, what can I say about Madam X? Well, it's still better than Who's That Girl? It's actually not as bad as I remember. There are some issues with it, but overall, it's quite watchable. It's much better than I remember. Now, the tour itself, it started in September 23 in New York City, I think, and it finished in March 8th. I think it was in France. Basically, it ended 3 days before it was supposed to end because the government shut down any gatherings of more than 1,000 people because they were trying to curb a certain thing that was happening around the world, which Madonna was ignoring. They did 75 shows for 124,655 people. I'm not sure if that's the final count, but they made 51 million, which is a far cry from all our other tours. But this was a theatre tour. Now, after Rebel Heart, because I said I would not travel to see Madonna. If she came, I would see her, that's it. And when she came, I said, well, okay, if she came to Australia, I'll travel for her next time. So I was actually planning to go see this concert. But I started to get warning signs. And I mean, I wanted to go to the first shows, and she moved the first shows because she was not ready in time to start the show. So she moved the first shows of the Rebel Heart tour. And I thought, what if she does that again? So I was worried about that. And of course, the last 3 shows were cancelled. So I wanted to go to the first shows or the last shows or both, and they were all cancelled or moved. So I kind of dodged a bullet there. There were issues with how the tickets were going on sale and the prices because there were so few tickets. The tickets were quite expensive, and they had like a raffle with fans, and there were a lot of fans who were locked into paying for tickets, but then better seats were made available through it was just a mess. And the theatre tour, and then they announced after the fact that you wouldn't be able to take your phones in and take any photos or videos, and I just got a lot of bad energy from this, and I just said, I'm not going to go. And I'm really glad I didn't, because like I said, I dodged a huge bullet. Every single show I would have booked a ticket for was cancelled. Madonna she created a new legend so far as being late, between 2 to 4 hours late for the shows. And it went to the point that some fans even filed a class action because they paid for tickets for concerts that basically didn't happen. They were basically pushed into the next day, basically, and they weren't able to see them. I don't blame anyone for having that issue. Ironically, I was supposed to watch this concert at like 8 o'clock tonight. I didn't end up watching it till about 2 a.m. So it looks like the tradition has, continued on even in my viewings. Now, what are some of the issues with this film? I want to get through the bad stuff first and then get to the positive stuff. I mean, it's funny. The intention supposedly of this show was to create an more intimate show for fans, but the show fails on both levels. It fails in that it's not the big tour with all the level of artistry and so forth that her other tours all had. You don't have the big stage. It's not custom made. It's basically just Madonna on a theatre stage with a bunch of stairs which have projections over them. They're all built to have projections put over them. And that's really all it is, Madonna, projections, and some staircases that people move around manually, and that's it. It's really basic, and it's not as dynamic as all her other tours with the specifically built stages and so forth, and it's really simple in that level. So it fails to provide that big concert extravaganza feeling that other concerts had. But at the same time, it fails to be intimate at the same time because she still tries to stage that. And the whole show is time-coded and rehearsed within an inch of its life. And Madonna never really stops. I mean, there's really only one moment where she even speaks to the audience, and she spends the whole period behind a mirror, and she doesn't even look at the audience, she's just looking at herself in a mirror. I just and this part where she sits in the audience, she walks down the steps and sits in a chair right on the edge of the stage and on the edge of the aisle, and she talks to a fan and shares a drink, and it's fake, it's rehearsed, it's scripted. And what makes it worse, out of all the people she had as guests, including Lil Nas X and Katy Perry and all these amazing people, who does she choose for the documentary? Dave Chappelle. And he gives some speech about how we're all here for a reason, God's given us all a reason, but not trans people, of course, not in his book, because they don't count as far as he's concerned. So he's homophobic, transphobic, and Madonna wants to prop him up. It's a real slap in the face to all her gay and transgender fans. That was quite a shocking moment, and I'm like, really? Is she really going to betray us just for a shocking moment? But she did. So that's an issue on its own. I forgot about that, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I remember that now. So yeah, like it fails to be what we expect from a Madonna show, but it fails to be small and intimate because she still tries, because she just can't stop herself. She can't actually do what she wanted, was to just cut down and just have a, show that was just casual and intimate and accessible to the fans, where she just talked to the fans and be in a small theatre. She failed. It failed on every level. It's still, although it is still beautiful to look at, but that's mostly because of the projections and the visuals behind her. It's basically her just dancing in front of a screen for 2 hours, and that was one of the problems with the other shows. They became too reliant on the screens and the visuals and not so much on the staging and creating an environment for the performers and herself to perform in. So it doesn't work on a lot of levels. But then at the same time, when you watch it, I didn't watch it on DVD, I didn't watch it on Blu-ray, I didn't stream it. I can't say what version I watched, but it is the same version that was on Paramount Plus, and I think it's 1080. So the actual camera work is great. I mean, the Rebel Heart show was appalling. They had standard definition video that looked like it was done on an old VHS. It just looked awful, and it was inconsistent. This was much better. There was still some swapping between footage from different concerts, and there are shots of fans from past tours that have been put in and so forth. But for the most part, it looks a lot better. It's well shot. It's in focus, which you can't say for Rebel Heart. There's a couple shots all the way through the show that are out of focus. So yeah, there's not much good to say. There are parts that are amazing. I mean, the Batuka women, the Come Alive section, they're all great. I like the start. The typewriter gun shots, I mean, that works. It's effective, although the fact she's typing out something someone else wrote doesn't make any sense to me. Why she didn't sort of do her own version of that, I'm not quite sure. What else is there to talk about with this tour? I think that's it. I think I covered everything. Of course, it was criticised for having too many songs from Madame X and having songs mainly from Madame X. The set list was God Control, Dark Ballet, Human Nature, Express Yourself. It was a snippet, really. Papa Don't Preach, which actually, I think it's just an intro, but it wasn't. I don't know if it was. I can't remember being in this concert. Madame X Manifesto, Vogue, I Don't Search, I Find, Papa Don't Preach, American Life, Batuka, Fado Pachincha, I'm not sure how to say that, Killers Who Are Partying, Crazy, Welcome to My Fado Club, Sedade, Medellin, Extreme Oxidant. Rescue Me was just an interlude, because people were saying how much they loved Rescue Me. She's never performed it live, and she said, oh, I'll do it for this one, and then she didn't do it. It's just an interlude where just part of it is played over dancers doing a breath routine. Then we have Frozen, Come Alive, Future, Crazy, Like a Prayer. So it's really only little snippets of Express Yourself, Papa Don't Preach, and Like a Prayer. They're the only older songs. It's mostly Madam X, and Madam X wasn't a very popular album. It wasn't a very successful album. So just sticking to that, pretty much guaranteed that they wouldn't get any, even if she wanted to do a bigger tour, she wouldn't have got it. And with the problems with her hip and all the late appearances and the smaller box office, I don't think she's ever going to tour again, unless she would have to compromise and agree to do all her old songs. That's the only way anyone would pay to send her on tour again. So I think this is probably the last concert. Unless she's willing to compromise, I don't see it happening again. This was the end, I think, but I may be wrong. We'll see. I don't know. Like, for all the negatives, though, it is still good. The presentation of the songs, through the limitations of the theatre shows, it's still quite effective for at least half of them. Some, I think, fail, but others are quite brilliant and quite beautiful. But I'm going to go because I'm done. I've watched every music video she's done, every remix video she's done, every concert, and a lot of her live performances. I'm going to finish off the live performances. I might do reviews for some of them, like Tears of a Clown and some of the bigger shows. But for the most part, I'm kind of done. I need a bit of a break from Madonna anyway. But like I said, I've still got to do the live performances. But they'll be a lot easier to do because they're shorter, obviously, and I don't feel the need to really review everything. But I did want to do a video on all these concerts just because I just wanted to share what I think of them, and I'm hoping other people will share in the comments what they think of the shows and what they think of my opinion of the shows. But I'm going to go. It is 4:27 a.m. I am tired, and I'm probably not making a lot of... I'm probably making sense, but yeah, I'm just starting to fade. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the concerts. Thanks. Bye. Oh, and the final concert cancellation tally was 18.